This was
Yeah.
one of the Dassey studios. I got another one in the other room yet.
Excellent. Just
Yeah.
to let you know, I did hit broadcast because
Oh yeah, I seen that. Yeah.
I thought we could just cut straight in. Hi there, Pete. Hi there, Becca. How you doing?
Hi. Good.
Pete, what you been up to today?
Oh, this and that and the other thing.
Mhm.
We just got back from Sheboygan. The wife and I. We always go to Old Wisconsin. That's a meat company, and they got deals on stuff. And she went to pick up some hot dogs for, she makes them at Christmas time when we have everybody over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, then I dropped off my car too for being fixed. That guy I know from work, he worked on it, so it's fixed for me. So when I get done here, I'm supposed to go over and pick it up. So I've been kind of busy today.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And sorry, just one little question about later on today. How are the Panthers going to do at Lambeau today?
Oh, I don't know if they're a warm team. I don't know. They're coming into 35 degrees here, so I don't know.
I bet teams from down south love coming up north, don't they?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I picked the Pack to win though.
I think it'll be quite a surprise if they don't win. To be honest,
Yeah.
they've won 9 of 12 games, so
Yeah. But I did see that happen already. They take a team too light, and then all of a sudden the game gets away from them, and But I don't get mad over it because it's just a game, and a lot of people they throw a fit when they lose.
It doesn't do you any good, does it, to get too head up about it, does it? First question, and apologies if you've been asked this one before. Where does the Dassey surname come from?
I don't know to tell you. Well, my family, but I think it's isn't it part German?
Well, I did a bit of digging into this, and just down from Galashiels, if you go to the southwest of Scotland, you get to Dumfries and Galloway, and in the region of Dumfries, we're in the borders. In Dumfries and Galloway, there's a county called Wigtonshire, and the county town is Wigton. And the first I can find of any mention of the surname Dassey was somebody that lived in Wigtonshire in 1861.
Oh.
You then go to 1880, and we've got Dassey's appearing all over America, but also some of your ancestors went to Africa, to Liberia.
Okay.
So they spread quite a bit, but I don't think there's any more Dasseys actually in the UK. They're all in America. So I presume the only one that was registered.
Is this like an Ancestry thing? Or?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can, for a certain price, you can check on your Ancestry. I seen advertisement on TV, to see how your ancestors did.
Yeah, well, basically, Eric Cosey always claimed that he was partly Scottish, which he is, and so for the sake of convenience, we are claiming you as being Scottish by ancestry. Okay.
I think a Roddy Piper right away.
Roddy Piper?
Yeah, the wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't he from Scotland?
I think so. Or
yeah, they always made fun of his kilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they called it a dress, but they called it a dress, but.
Or isn't Seamus from Scotland too?
Oh yeah, he is too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually wearing his shirt too.
Oh, okay. I'll have to, since I'm down here, I'll have to show you my Stone Cold.
We're talking wrestling, yeah.
I was going to say wrestling,
here's my Stone Cold hang up. I got some stuff piled in front of it, but I can show you part of it.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah, and then I'll show you my Martin corner.
Oh, yeah.
And then here's a big picture where from an egg to how big they get.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the difference between a male and female.
Wow. Hold on a second, Pete. Let me just do this a moment. And then we can just have you. Yeah, carry on. Show us the. I've
go
just
ahead and post a
soloed
picture.
you in effect, so that everybody can see you better.
Okay. And
That's cool.
I got some signs up there.
Yep.
Yeah. And then the first picture here, that's from when they're sub adults, and then these are the older ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
excellent stuff.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah.
Pete.
Yeah.
So as you were saying, you're in your man cave, which is where you broadcast Radio Dassey from it. And I'm sure I asked you this last week. How did, although I don't know if I did, how did Dassey Radio sort of come about? What was sort of idea behind
Well,
it?
I always wanted to be a DJ.
Right.
Yeah. And I
And
just, well, my older boy, he was running Brad.
yes.
Anthony, he used to run something on he did the same thing. Actually, he had a job at WIXX in Green Bay and other places, and he was actually running his own like video on, I don't know if it was YouTube or some kind of thing, and he was paying for it for a while, and he had some good tunes on there. People called in and requested songs and stuff.
Excellent. Excellent. And so what sort of genre of music do you particularly like listening to then?
Oh, I like the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, some today, um, and uh, and some polkas, some country.
Mm-hmm.
I like the older country though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent. Excellent.
yeah. And your country is pretty cool too. I just thought I'd throw that in
Yeah, yeah.
there. You
Here in
guys get it?
Scotland, we have yeah. We have our own traditional music, and it's jigs and reels and dancing and caling and stuff like that, and
Okay.
it's very popular.
Hey,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to say on the behalf, what kind of music? Yeah, you said you're a musician. So what kind of music do you produce?
Well, I'm first and foremost an accordionist, so I
What?
play a squeeze box.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah. In fact, I sent Charlie Berens a video of me playing, and he sent me a really nice postcard where he put to Paul on the squeeze box, keep her moving, go Packers, and F the Bears. Signed a postcard from him. So
That's
so
pretty
I've got
cool.
that. Yeah, it was very cool. I think the dude was pretty jealous when I got that one sent to me.
Hmm.
Okay.
But yes, sort of primarily accordion, but anything with strings and anything with keys is what I teach. But I haven't been able to do any gigs since March because we've just not had any opportunities to do any caling.
Can you play on the piano?
Oh yeah, I play piano. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I teach piano,
Oh, okay.
keyboard, accordion, and as I say, stringed instruments, guitars, violins, stuff like that.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah,
told me, Paul, that
yeah.
that you have a cousin that is in a band.
Yes, my uncle
Your
Chris
uncle.
was a member of the Fortunes back in the '60s. They had a hit with various hits with it, including "Freedom Come, Freedom Go."
Yeah.
You've got your troubles, I've got mine. Storm in
Oh,
a
yeah,
teacup.
that one in them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was only with them for the year. But probably my more famous cousin, Jim Capaldi. He was the drummer with Traffic. And
Oh.
then he had a big hit in '75 here in the UK with a cover of I believe it was an Everly Brothers song called "Love Hurts," and he did
Okay.
his version of it, and he was in the charts for a long time with that one. And in fact, he did have quite a successful solo career. Selling albums more so on the continent of Europe than here in the UK.
Yeah.
But when he died, they had a tribute concert to him, and it was Paul Weller of the Jam and the Style Council that sort of headlined the concert in London. To celebrate Jim Capaldi, who's
Yeah.
I say he was a drummer with Traffic, but he also played guitar and sang, and yeah, At one time,
Yeah.
apparently, he was the second most famous Englishman in Brazil, behind Ronald Briggs of the Great Train Robbery.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's pretty cool though. Like,
Yeah, it is.
yeah, that's so your whole family's very musically inclined.
mhm, very much so. Yeah. One of the things I really wanted to ask you, well, lots of things, but one in particular that I remember I forgot to ask last week. I often see this line, in support of Brendan, the complete and innocent Brendan Dassey, and I just wanted to ask what does the fact that it's the complete and not and innocent. It's not the completely innocent. It's the complete and innocent. Does the complete allude to the fact that when he was wrongfully convicted, he was still only a boy, really, 16 years old, and the fact that he's grown up and matured. I just wondered what the complete bit referred to.
I don't know. My guess would be, I don't know. Yeah, I know what the innocent is. Uh, yeah, complete. Yeah, it would, like you're saying, he would be completely innocent, but they're just rephrasing it as that. You
The
know,
complete and innocent,
yeah,
as if look, if you're gonna interrogate somebody who's 16 years old,
yeah.
and you're gonna feed them that this the biggest problem here is, Pete, is, as far as I can see, is this. And Jerry Buting hit the nail on the head. He said that in America, it is the only English-speaking country in the world where the police are allowed to lie to people in interrogations and make up whatever they want. And
Well,
it's
yeah,
the only country in the world where they're allowed to
Yep.
do that.
Yep. That's
yeah.
true.
You know, and for me, if you're going to go in as a police interrogator and you're going to lie to people and tell them a load of nonsense, what are you going to get back from them?
I don't
What
know.
can you possibly expect to get back from somebody if you're just telling them a load of lies?
Yeah, not yeah. I believe you. There's a couple things as the court and everything was going on. There's a couple things that really got me too. So yeah, this lying bit. Yeah, you don't have too many friends when you lie, but yeah, there's two things that stand out in my mind that definitely just I just go through the ceiling every time I think of it. So
Mm-hmm. Another thing I wanted to ask you about was that in series one of Making a Murderer, we get the chance to hear you talking about Brendan and almost like a dream or a vision that he had.
Mm,
That
yeah.
Teresa came to him in a like a dream. There
oh
was this
yeah,
hooded
yeah, yeah,
hooded figure,
yeah.
and all of a sudden she was there. Are you aware of the? Let's choose our words carefully here, but a general consensus of opinion among some supporters that Teresa is still alive and out there. Are you aware of this theory?
Yeah, people were telling me. I heard it through the grapevine that I don't know where they're from, but they think that she's alive and going under a different name, and they actually saw her a couple places, and a lot of people are telling me that she's not really dead. That this is all, and in ways I believe it because there's one thing that stands out in my mind that kind of gets me a little bit teed, but I'm gonna say it anyways. But when I was in the courtroom one of the times, and Mr. Ken Kratz, the big high and almighty,
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
to
yeah.
me he's nothing. He's just
Oh no, please.
um, to me uh, he got me teed when he said when Brendan's lawyer says, "Well, what if the real killer's fingerprints is on the key?"
Mm,
You know what he actually said? He
uh,
said it doesn't matter just so long Stephen Avery's prints are
yeah,
on the key. So what does that tell you?
yeah.
Okay, and one
Yeah.
more thing I'd like to get off my chest is uh somebody drove the vehicle. There's a back road at the Avery
Yeah,
property, and the
yeah,
next door neighbor guy saw somebody
yeah,
drive, so he calls Manitowoc police, and the Manitowoc police say, "Don't worry about it."
yeah.
So what do you think? Once you think, oh, we'll get somebody right on it and check it out.
I, well,
Yeah.
that's what should have. And you're right. It was somebody, an old fellow, I think, called Wilbert Siebert. Have I got that right, Becca?
Yeah.
Who?
Wilbert Siebert,
For what?
the
Sorry.
guy that's the old fellow that saw the car being driven onto the property.
It. I think it was Wilbert.
I think
It was
Wilbert
a. It was.
Siebert.
It was the
That's the name that
80-year-old.
rings.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
the
yeah.
80-year-old neighbor who lived. Yeah.
He remembers seeing the distinctly because Rav4s, Toyotas, they are they're not
Yeah.
things that you see regularly. Although obviously there was a Toyota dealer in Green Bay, but it's a Jeep-like vehicle, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah.
And he saw that car, definitely the sort of dark green stroke blue RAV4 being driven on, and he also saw this Jeep with rust colour on it
Yeah.
being driven behind it, a white Jeep, and they were being driven fast.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
On
But when
that
the
back road, right behind the salvage yard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
but when the Manitowoc police says, "Don't worry about it," I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, my, you know, my my thing that I've really gone on about for, I would say, the last 4 years is the fact that here in the UK, Wilma Siebert, thank you, Kim,
Mm-hmm.
Wilma Siebert. Here in the UK, we had a case back in '03 when this caretaker at a school murdered two girls. It's called the Soham murders,
Yeah.
and they caught Ian Huntley by the fact that his girlfriend Maxine Carr, in an interview with reporters, referred to one of the girls in the past tense. And she said of this one girl that was in her class, she was a nice girl. And immediately, both the reporters and the police picked up on that and went, "Did you hear what she just said? She referred to the girls in the past tense. She knows something about what's happened to them." Later on that day, they get arrested, case solved. Pete, what on earth are we to make of Mike Halbach in an interview when Teresa is still a missing person? He says the grieving process could last days. I'm struggling to think what to make of that. I see it on so many different levels. Point number one, if Stephen or Brendan had said that, that would have been taken as a confession, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And yet he says it, and there is not in this, nobody bats an eyelid. Nobody questions him about it and says, "Well, hold on a sec, what did you just say?"
Mm-hmm.
The grieving process. Well, why is he grieving when Teresa is still only a missing person? Because obviously, point number one, who are the last people to accept that that a family member is missing? I mean, okay, I'll give you another example of this. Barb, bless her, has been absolutely adamant right from the word go that there is nothing, that Teresa's disappearance has nothing at all to do with any of her and your kids. And she's maintained that right from the word go, hasn't she? And you've got Mike Halbach talking about the fact that the grieving process. What on earth is he on about? I just don't understand. I don't understand why he gets away with saying that, because that for me is that's a huge red flag. That should have been, the press should have been on at him straight away, and they should have been going to the police. Did you hear what he just said?
Yeah. It's definitely
Nothing.
a red flag. Yeah.
But it also, if the grieving process could be over in days, what does it say about the fact that Teresa might still be out there?
Mhm.
That's the thing for me, isn't it?
Well,
Why?
you could argue that the bones that they found, you can't prove necessarily that that was Teresa's remains.
That's why we need.
Yeah.
That's why we need them. And as somebody once pointed out, probably the most offensive thing that Mike Halbach said was that at Brendan's sentencing, if he really thinks that Brendan did what he did, and remember, not even Tom Fassbender. Tom Fassbender on TV says, I don't know if he did all of it. Well, if you don't know he did all of it, you don't know that he did some of it, you don't know that he did any of it. But anyway, we're digressing. The point is that in Brendan's sentencing, Mike Halbach is saying, that yes, I think Brendan did all these horrible things, but you should have taken the plea deal. Who in their right mindset, if you think that
Yeah.
Brendan did all that, you would want somebody locked away forever.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like he's got some sort of guilty conscience going.
Oh,
Them guys met with me before the case closed, and they were trying to tell Brendan to plead guilty, and I says, why? I mean, he didn't have nothing to do with it. Well, the window's getting smaller and smaller, and I'm not going to tell him to plead guilty when he was innocent.
yeah.
So, he was trying to tell me to say something wrong, and to me that was wrong. He's innocent. He wasn't guilty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. As soon as we did our little chat last week, Eunice says to me, "Paul, did you ask Pete about the 5 boys all with Christian names starting with the letter B?" Could I remember? What did we decide was the reason for that? Was it just happened that way?
Yeah.
Have I got that bit right?
No, it actually comes from my family, really.
Right.
Because we had four brothers with the starting with P.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So I thought I'd carry that on.
Yeah. Well, you've done well with 5 here in Galashiels. One of my daughter's school friends. There's like, I think 7 kids in the family. 1 boy, 6 girls. All names beginning with M. You got Mark and Michelle and Monica, Marilyn. There's 7 of them, I believe. So yeah, very good. I know I've asked you this before, but tell us, please, as a youngster, what sort of lad was Brendan like? Because it's. I think it's worth reiterating,
Well, growing up, of course, he was the youngest.
Yep.
And the kids fought, and naturally, Brendan, they always picked on him because he was a lot like me. See, my brothers used to pick on me too, and I'd never fight back. And Brendan was kind of the same way. His brothers kind of picked on him too, and I always told him to knock it off, and it kind of brought back my history a little bit. But yeah, he was a great kid. He's a great kid, I should say, and big heart just like mine. Wouldn't give you the shirt right off his back, and I don't even understand why them guys even did that to him. I'm still way in left field about all this stuff.
Pete, I honestly believe that it was, if you look at it from the police point of view, they thought back in 85 they had put Steve away. As Tom Kasurik says, I don't care whether you did it or not, I'm going to get you for it. And it wouldn't surprise me if they thought Steve will be sent off to jail, facing 32 years. What's he going to do? He's going to want to take parole. He's going to say, okay, guys, I did it. And then he's going to come back to Manitowoc with his tail between his legs. And that never happened, did it? He's so stubborn that there was no way he was going to admit to it. And of course, everything just went completely pear-shaped. And then you've got Stephen Avery pursuing this lawsuit, and it's like it's really threatening to law enforcement in Manitowoc. The fact that you've got somebody who they consider to be a lower class of citizen who's going to take them down. I don't think it was about the money. It was about the fact that he was going to take them down, and they didn't like that. And I think it's a case of, as we're seeing with Andy Colburn's civil suit against Netflix, because he feels threatened. Their only philosophy is once you're threatened, you threaten back, and that's what basically the kidnapping of Brendan Dassey was all about. It was to threaten everybody and say, we're doing it because we can, and you better shut up, you better accept it, because we're the law and we can do what we like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I take it, as being, they didn't need to convict Brendan. The press conference did all the damage it was meant to do.
Yeah.
Which was absolutely ridiculous. And that's, it just beggars belief that in actual fact, when top lawyers looked into this case, they discovered that within Wisconsin there are laws whereby, in actual fact, it was not illegal for Ken Kratz to say that, to give that press conference, which is just ludicrous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thing with the like the cops, I mean, like even like Stephen Avery, too, when he got in trouble for raping that girl on the beach. I know he didn't do it because I was out at the yard at the time. That's another thing that the cops do. I don't get where they're coming from.
Yep.
There was like 6 or 8 of us out there at the time. He left the yard, and then he said, "Do you want the Two Rivers?" Well, it takes more than 15 minutes to get from Michigan to Two Rivers all the way over on the other side of the beach.
Yeah.
And we vouched for him that he was there, and the cops basically called us all liars.
Yep.
I was gonna say you were part of the alibi for that, weren't you?
Yeah. I slept for him, and they called us a bunch of liars.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
That's really ridiculous, and honestly, that kind of shows you the prejudice that the police department has against.
Not that I'm saying all cops are crooked, but I guess there's a few out there.
Yeah.
But here in the UK, a while back, we had a huge problem with our particular football, particularly in football, whereby we had crowds that would go to football matches and basically cause a whole load of hooliganism and violence. And it got so bad that, in fact, English clubs, not British clubs, but English clubs were actually banned from playing in European competition. And they were banned by the British government because of the fans going abroad. And the problem was, it wasn't all the fans, it was just a few that give the rest a bad name. And that's what happens with, I've been watching that Flint Town documentary, very, very interesting, I feel sorry for these police guys that, because some lunatics somewhere else beat up a suspect, then the revenge is, if we see a policeman, we're just going to shoot him, whether they're involved in anything or not. It's just ridiculous,
It is.
And you're right, Pete. That the problem is that, when you look at Steve's wrongful conviction in '85, Tom Bergner of the police department, he went to Kusurek and said, "You've got the wrong guy. You need to look at this Gregory Allen."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they all just closed shop. They circled the wagons, or whatever you want to call it. There's a saying that the dude used to love, that was actually given to him by a Yorkshireman called Mark Oddy, and it's simply the line that when it comes to the police, all compasses point north. You're not going to get people stepping out of line and actually, doing the right thing in these sort of. You will eventually.
Yeah.
You will eventually. Eventually, the ship when it starts to sink, that's when we're going to get a lot of information come forward, and we're going to get a much clearer picture as to what happened.
I don't know how all these people that are behind this can have a clear conscience putting somebody away that's innocent. I don't
Pete,
understand.
yeah, I don't honestly think that there's a lot of people behind this. I think it's just one or two. And I think that then, because everybody isn't prepared to step out of line on this, they just go along with it,
Okay.
Mhm.
You know, I honestly don't think that there's too many people involved in this.
Maybe.
It, I think what you've got is, you've got people involved in different aspects of this that didn't know what other people were doing,
Yeah.
but they knew what the end result was going to be.
Yeah.
Pete, could you tell us a little bit then about Steve when he was younger? What was he like? Because you probably spent a bit of time in his
Oh
company,
yeah,
yeah?
yeah. Grew up around him. He very awesome, very awesome guy. We had our moments. I mean, we had our disagreements, but everybody does. But yeah, he was a good. I don't know why I keep saying was. Maybe because
Yeah,
they're not out. I'm thinking, I don't
sure.
mean anything mean by it, but I mean,
Yeah,
he at the time he was a good friend, and he still is. And I don't know. To me, I don't even know why he would do something like that, because coming off of one thing with the rape
yeah,
on the beach, he had everything going for him.
exactly.
Why would he all of a sudden turn the shell and do this?
Well,
Yeah.
no, I mean, from what I gather, he was looking forward to getting himself a house, and he was particularly looking forward to sorting out a car for Brendan.
Yeah, and then I heard a lot of things like uh when I don't know, people keep bringing up to me that she left the Avery residence, and it was because her cell phone was still ongoing, and they got records of it. Somebody does, and I keep hearing about this, that she left the Avery property in one piece, and she left
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So I heard people saying that her phone was still going yet. So I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would seem, certainly Kathleen Zellner is of the opinion that she was flagged down by somebody, and yes, it could have been somebody flagging her down for hustle shot, but who else are you likely to be flagged down by? The police.
Yeah.
I quite definitely, they're watching the yard constantly. They,
Yeah.
they they know what's going on there. Also, sorry, Pete, I was going to ask you, in terms of age. Then I think I've got this right, that you're sort of in between ages with like Steve and Chuck.
Yeah. Chuck is a little older than me, and Steve, I think we're about the same age. He might be 1 or 2 years younger. I'm not sure. I forgot now, but yeah, I grew up, and I've known him for years.
Yeah, and so out of the boys, sorry, out of Chuck and Steve and Bob and Earl and Alan, which one does Mama Avery tend to shout at the most?
I don't know. I couldn't. That one.
Who gets in
I don't.
trouble the most?
I mean, let's be honest about this. I mean, it
Or
doesn't
who
matter.
got caught?
You know what marriage you're in. It's always the women that are the boss, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know this might be a bit painful, but how did you and Laurie end up sort of meeting together and tying the knot, as
Uh,
it were?
yeah. I know. Everybody thinks that's weird, but
No.
well, Brendan's mom was Steve's sister, so we kind of, you know, she got.
Yeah.
It's a small world. It's a small
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, as I say, I've just been watching Flint Town, and you've got two officers working in the same police department, and the one woman, Bridget, thinks that Robert's an arsehole, and yet they still ended up getting married. So these things happen. It just depends on
Yeah.
what circles you rotate in, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. How did yourself and Bob first met?
She came around at well, like Brad's ma.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we were calling it quits, and I don't remember because this was a pretty long time ago, and it was through Steve. She introduced me. He introduced me to Steve. Now I'm getting all flustered here. Uh, and then it was we dated after that, and then you know
Yeah. Where did you used to live back then?
we had a place on in Two Rivers there. We lived we lived a couple places. We lived down from the fire station a couple of years, and then we lived right next to. I lived next to a bar again. It was called the Blue Goose. Well, actually,
Right.
the Blue Goose, it ain't there anymore, and the house isn't there anymore. But yeah, we actually lived in Two Rivers, and then
How did you find that living next to a bar? I used to live right opposite the Harrow in Galashiels, and it was too handy at times. Let's put it that way.
oh, I'm not going there. It was yeah, just like right now, I'm next to a bar, and it's pretty kosher. You get used to it when in the summer when the windows are open. Sometimes you get some people that are drunk and come out and
Yeah.
it makes some noises, but we're used to it. He's pretty cool. Tim's the owner next to Berserker's bar here, and
Right.
he's a sweetheart, and he if something's really out of the ordinary, out of the way, they'll hear about it, but we never. And then when he has some outside gigs, when before the virus, he'd always ask us, "Well, is the music too loud?" I said,
Hmm.
"No, I mean it's free music for us."
Yeah.
Right. Right. And there's okay. So this bar that does outside gigs. Was there any chance of Rick Marler and his band ever playing there?
No, I think it
You
was
never
more.
you never met.
I think it
More
was.
local.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was Tim's buddies through the. He's got like a motorcycle gang.
Right.
Yeah, and they're really a good gang. They do rides for charities.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go on long rides, and one of my phones here, I could probably send you it, where they all did like 25, 35 cycles came up to the house. They stopped, and then they took off, and you could just hear the house rumbling
Yeah.
That's cool.
from them all starting up.
Yeah.
All Harleys, Harleys,
Yeah.
they're the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we were talking about the fact that you've got people such as the Averys. They run a salvage yard. I have no doubt whatsoever that there are certain people who live in certain affluent areas of Manitowoc County that politicians, police, etc., that maybe look down on people that run a scrapyard, and I think the same is true of the bikers. The biker community over there in at Eagle Nation Cycles. That was another issue that the dude was very much into. Pete, did you ever see and hear about the flat off situation?
What do you mean by that?
The Brian Flatoff situation when the
No.
guy Eagle Nation Cycles got shot by the Appleton police, wasn't it?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I never came across that.
No. Okay. That was a case that the
Oh,
dude was very very heavily into, and there's going to be a documentary made called the $50 million bullet
oh, okay.
that looks into that case. And that's going to be that. I'm pretty sure that because of the fact that from Appleton to Manitowoc it's about 50 miles.
Appleton to Manitowoc. Yeah, somewhere around here. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we actually, the dude and I drove across on the Sunday to go to Eagle Nation Cycles, and that's what. It was less than an hour. And speaking with the director of this new film, $50 Million Bullet, David Starr, he was saying that obviously they are gonna Netflix are gonna want to take this documentary and run with it, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I know that's interesting. So you've not actually heard of the Eagle Nation cycles killing
No,
of
that,
Mike. It was Michael Funk.
I think at that time I was under a rock or something.
Yeah. Mhm. No, we had one or two run-ins verbally with the
Oh,
chief of police of Nina. Nina. Yes, Aaron Olson.
oh,
Mm.
okay. I'm just
We
those guys. I met those guys. They're cyclists. They're really
yeah
sweetheart. Everybody thinks
yeah
they're real big bad guys, and no, they're
yeah
just big teddy
yeah
bears on bikes.
Yeah.
exactly yeah. But we've here in the Borders at the Borders General Hospital, the children's ward has got all pictures of characters from Disney movies, all painted by the local bike club. The Border Barbarians.
Mhm.
It's,
Oh,
as you say, that it's you just misrepresent people because you judge them on what they look like. Yeah, yeah. So yes, Liquid Sunshine, Michael Funk, and I'm sure it was Brian Flatoff
yeah.
was the Michael Funk, Brian Flatoff. That's the case.
So,
David Starr.
bikes. Do you own one?
So
We're talking about cycles. Do you have one?
uh, no, I'm into motorcycle speedway, but
Oh,
I've ridden a moped. Um,
okay.
but what's really interesting is that having followed the speedway, the motorbike speedway here in the UK,
Okay.
I've got to know a lot of the speedway riders. In fact, one of the guys that really follows this case is a former Berwick rider, one of the top British riders called Ricky Ashworth, and unfortunately he was paralysed by a an accident, and he's a really keen follower of Stephen Brendan's case because he's reached out to me a couple of times. But what's interesting is a lot of these people that ride motorbikes competitively round a track never ever get on a road bike because they know just how dangerous it is. If you're in a car and you're involved in an accident,
Yeah.
you're likely to live again. If you come off a bike at any kind of speed, that could be you.
What?
Yes, Liquid Sunshine. Of course, I know it's you, Sharon.
Yeah. I got a couple friends from Hamilton's that passed away. They were on bikes,
Mm.
and I know what. Yeah, because when you're on a bike, you don't have too much.
Protection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
protection. Yeah. So I know a couple people that passed away. That.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I know what you're going through.
Sure, Becca.
Yeah.
And Pete, question for both of you, because I know that you're both in constant touch with Brendan. How is Brendan doing? What's his mood like at the moment?
Becca, you can take the floor first.
Ladies first.
um, I haven't talked to him in it's going on to 2 weeks now
Oh, yeah.
because they're on lockdown in the prison and his tablet
Yeah.
was shut off. So I have heard though through the grapevine that he's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And that he's staying healthy and good and yeah. I have sent him a snail mail, but God knows it's the holidays, so I don't know if he'd get it before the tab comes back on. But hopefully, yeah, I've heard he's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
floor mine now?
Huh?
Is the floor mine now?
Yes.
Oh,
destroyed.
absolutely. Yes.
Yes, we ran. Me and my wife went out the other day at the one and only.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Dassey Radio. It's the one and only Two Rivers Family Restaurant, and we ran into Brendan's mother and her husband Scott, and she was telling me that Brendan was doing fine. She got off the phone with him the other day, and he's just doing just great. And that was probably about, I would say maybe a week ago, maybe a little less or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just from a purely thinking about this, um, given the fact that Making a Murderer was 5 years old yesterday,
Yeah.
I can only imagine that Brendan must have, and Steve, but Brendan in particular, has received a mountain of mail. Where on earth does he keep it all?
Well, I know he's allowed to keep some, and I think he sends the when he can't have anymore, when he's at when his room is so high and he's got to walk above it. I guess he's got to send it. I guess he sends the letters to his mom, and then she puts
All
them
right.
for him. Yeah,
Wow. So they don't get um, put out with the waste and the
yeah.
recycling. Then
And
they're all kept.
I got a couple letters here for him too. I got kind of like a box on the side that's set aside for him because people send me things that are for him, and if he can't have it, well, one person sent me or gave me a box of wrestling. You could wrestling guys.
Hmm.
I got it off here to the side, and I'd like to keep it myself, but it's his though.
Yeah. I was gonna say,
Yeah,
it's pretty hard for you not to sneak off and play wrestling with them.
yeah, I know. Yeah. If I had them handy, I'd show you what a couple look like. You'd probably say, "Oh, I remember those."
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. So, yeah, I got a little stash away for him too. So when the time does come, but no, the latest I heard he was doing really super fine, and but you're right, they're on lockdown and stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just really something. I mean, with this virus stuff, how everything's changed so much. I'm kind of
Uh,
sad because I was really up for another rally this year.
Yeah.
I
But
must admit, it was awesome meeting you there last year, you
yeah, it
and
was
Lloyd,
awesome. Yeah,
and you were just sat at the back, just taking it all in and soaking it all in. Particularly at the Baymont afterwards, that was brilliant. And I don't know if you ever got the chance to hear what Stacey was singing, because it was just such a big room and everything, But
yeah,
no, I thought it was great, and I mean. Apparently, I really enjoyed the party that was after that party. That was after that party.
yeah.
That was
Because
after that party.
yeah, because
The
Mark says,
after party.
yeah, because Mark said, why don't you guys come in the back there? We're gonna have, and I figured, well, I don't know how many times this guy is gonna come down and
Yeah,
everybody. So I mean, it was a special get together,
yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Brendan knows how much I love him because otherwise I wouldn't have got involved at making the murder at all.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can tell how much feelings I got behind the whole thing.
Yes.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah,
You're very radiant with your loving care for Brendan.
yeah, yeah. I
That's
mean,
the right word.
they were here when they did that interview. They were here 6 hours.
wow.
Yeah, you were telling
Yeah,
me
and
that the other day.
everything just had to be perfect.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, even in episode 1 when I got in my car and was
Yeah,
heading to Barb's, everything had to be quiet. I couldn't turn on no radio.
Oh,
yeah,
I couldn't even breathe real loud.
yeah,
So,
oh, that's
yeah,
a
yeah,
bummer.
it was really something. It was really something. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
that's
when they were in the backyard before the birds came, they shot them, and then I had things in the backyard. Oh, we can't have this here, so they took. I think they ripped half of my yard down.
oh wow.
So
Is it
yeah,
because
I says go for it. I mean,
yeah?
make it,
yeah.
what you want. I'll put it back later when I'm done. No
Is it
problem.
is it because there's like brand names on things, like they couldn't have like certain brands or?
Well, the sun was on stuff. It was sunny, and they didn't want it blinding
Oh,
cameras, and there was some other stuff, but they were really picky. But I left them do what they wanted to because you know they they got their own thing going. So, but it still took 6 hours, and how much
yeah.
was I on there? Not too long. I was kind of depressed. I wasn't on longer.
Really? Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
now you're on YouTube, so you're making up
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Listen, Pete. I'm not going to keep you any longer because I know you've got to go and pick up your car, and hopefully you've got the bearings sorted and the anti-lock brakes
Yeah,
sorted.
and he says my where the speed control is. I don't have all these lights going on and off anywhere. For
Well,
a while, I thought I was playing
that's
video. For a while there, I thought I was playing video games going to work. You know.
yeah,
Oh,
that's a good thing.
and
Sorry,
for
Becca.
I'm sorry for closing. I do want to say Linda sent me a message like 10 minutes ago. She wanted me to apologize for not being here. She's in the chat right now too.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll get her next time. Don't worry.
yeah,
Listen, she'll owe me. She'll owe me. That's
yes,
going to be
that's
great.
right. She'll also do it.
Yeah, tell her I miss her. Tell her I missed her on here. I was really looking forward to seeing her again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, she's in
I
the
did.
chat right now, so I think
I
she's
did.
watching.
Yeah, I did. I did hook up with her on Facebook, and I sent her a couple songs, and then I sent her a 5 minute video of me and my Martins in the summertime.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so yeah, I still got that on my phone here. So
I love your birds. I think they're
yeah,
so
yeah,
relaxing.
yeah. They're real loud, and then once when they leave, it goes from real loud to real quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Okay, as I say, I'm gonna say cheerio because
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Cheerios.
it's,
I used to eat that for cereal. I just wanted to be a little hilarious, you know.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was something that we sort of said tongue in cheek to each other earlier was the fact that it would be great if we could have you, Pete, on a YouTube channel every day of the week, telling everybody
We'll have to
how innocent Steve and Brendan are.
I'd have to take over and call it Dassey
You'll
Network.
have to. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have to trade off Paul. We'll have him every other day, okay? On our
Yeah.
channel.
But same time next Saturday, okay, Pete?
Okay, sounds good.
Excellent.
You guys have a great week, and if I don't see you, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
You
Well,
too.
great to speak to you, and obviously thank you, Pete, for joining us, and thank you, Becca, for taking the time out to join us. And as I say to Linda, you owe me one, so that's good.
Yeah, that's a goodbye. I missed ya.
Yeah. Okay, we'll catch you all later, guys. Thanks very much, and thank you for everybody for tuning in.